Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we're in the world of Sequoia and we are building a 3x2 bedroom family home. Now, I absolutely love this build, and I think one of the reasons I love this build is the exterior of this build looks so aesthetically pleasing, and I just think it's like a perfect family home. And it all started because I wanted to build a really simple shaped two-story family home. This shape suits more of a landscaped shaped lot, which there are tons in Sequoia, and I think that that's one of the reasons why, if I have a build in mind in this kind of like shape, like I need lots that are horizontal, so I always come to Sequoia. Plus the lighting is so great. It's just one of those go-to worlds that I build in. If I ever just want to like open the game and build, I always gravitate towards like Sequoia, Willow Creek, Brindleton Bay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you have worlds that you just enjoy building in? And also, if you'd be so kind, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting on today's video. I want to know your thoughts of the build. And yeah, this build is available on the Sims 4 gallery as well, along with all other builds this month. There are a ton of family builds, so this one is in a little bit more of a semi-modern style as opposed to something more traditional. A lot of the builds this month have been very traditional, almost Victorian-esque, and I wanted to build something more on the modern side. I actually don't build a lot on the modern side, or if I do, it looks modern from the exterior, but the interior is like furnished more traditional. I always go back, always something like cozy and rustic and farmhouse style. I suppose that's more my, personal preference, but I do really enjoy this build. As I said, yeah, so it's on the gallery. Okay, the main struggle I faced with this build was the coloring. So the furnishings, so the floor plan came together fairly simple because it's not a massive lot. We are able to cram in a lot of things into this, so I'm really happy with the spacing of the lot and whatnot. So you walk in and you have right away, you're into the action. So it's a dining and kitchen area, and that's that front section that has all of those really large base game windows, and like all the light is flooding in. And yeah, and then I decided, okay, where is the staircase going to go? Because this has, this kind of left hand side of the build is quite narrow versus the right, and the upstairs you only have limited spacing. So in the end, I do end up putting the staircase where this kind of bump out is. You'll see it right here. Yep. And that inherently makes this downstairs area quite small, this living room. I do change the orientation of the couch. You will see that when I get down the furnishings. At this point, I'm very much finalizing the floor plan. So I just did a simple bump out. The first bump out behind the stairs is a bathroom, and then you have the master bedroom. You then move upstairs, you have your foyer area, you have the second and third bedroom, and the second bathroom. And the bathrooms are in identical spots in the entire build. So like the downstairs, if you just go up a story, it's the same location as for both bathrooms. Changing the orientation of the couch and where the TV is means that I can kind of be sneaky and put in a back door to the obviously back of the property. And I thought that was so genius, and it really helped in this build. The other thing I had to think about was the upstairs balcony, the balcony, the balcony, and where I was going to give access. Was it going to be just a general access from a hallway? Was it going to be a part of, a bedroom? I think in the end, it's just part of access from a hallway. I end up turning that upstairs foyer in a little bit of like a playroom and an improv study. It's such a great space. I do think that this would be a perfect build to play in because there's not too much like walking around. Like, even though I say that a one-story build is just so much easier to play in, and it is, but I do think that this would be great for a small family. Like, this is like the perfect small family home. So what I did is I decided to change the orientation of, not the orientation, sorry, I guess move the building on the lot so that I could just kind of have better usage of the exterior. We then ended up having a lot of room on the right side of the lot, so I decided to build in a carport. It just adds to the facade of the build. And in the end, I'm able to put some like skill building things in there. And I put in this garage door. This is actually from, I think it's from City Living, and it's the one where you can like spray paint it and do like some art stuff on it. I never used this piece and I thought it was perfect. There is another, I think it's part of Snowy Escape. If you have a medium wall height, you can use like a sliding door that looks like a garage door, I guess, and that's like the standard one I would use. But I thought this was genius because I only wanted to use a short wall height and I could just add it on. All right, in order to do my landscaping, I wanted to section the backyard. So I started with some fencing, and I've done this before in previous builds where I fence off a square and I put like a tree house or something else in it. And I decided to do that in this build because I had a lot of space. Also, the tree house came as part of Growing Together, which is Sequoia is the world that came with the Growing Together expansion. So I think that it fits perfectly. I then decided to do what is my favorite part of this entire build is this front garden section. I love this. I love this idea. Well, it's not a white picket fence. I chose to make it beige, but that picket fence really kind of makes this home look suburban. When I think of a classical suburban home, I think of like, the white picket fence, and I really love that. It's interesting because I was going for something a little bit more modern, and I guess that pulls a little bit more traditional. But again, this is me building, and I can never stick to a decor theme. So yeah, I really love that. And that's just like a little garden area. And I think it's a better way to use the space as opposed to just placing like garden plots down. Making it like a dedicated area, I think just makes the build look more cohesive and intentional. And I really enjoy that. So for landscaping overall, I kept it very minimal. Just use whites and greens and a little pops of yellow in the layloing flowers. This is all very standard. I placed the trees really intentional to kind of frame the build so that your eyes kind of peer to certain aspects of the build and that it looks, appealing from the exterior. So I've gone in with our pathing. This is just like a concrete pathing, I believe. And I decided to put in some a swing set, and now I also have to add in a door to the garage because technically the actual garage front is not a door, so like they can't enter that space unless I put a door in. So I did have to make sure the pathing extended to the garage because that's how the Sims can access that space. And I just lined the back with shrubs, very basic, and I add in my standard little section where I'm going to put my grill and a seating area. In this particular build, we use the backyard stuff, table and chairs. And I think that these are just a little bit more modern and uplifted. So I used those. I put in a hopscotch and I do put in a basketball ring. I decided to put in a splash pad. And the reason I have in this particular build is because if you are playing with Growing Together, children aspirations, there is one in particular that you need a splash pad, and it's just so much easier to complete if you have a splash pad of your own on your own lot. So I've added that in there for gameplay purposes. You've got like a little marble circle. I'm just putting dirt under all the plants. And this is the part where I looked at this build and I was like, oh my God, I love this build. The landscaping has all come together and I'm just so obsessed with it. All right, so now we are properly decorating the house. So the kitchen is mostly done. We are just moving straight into that living area. And this is where I decided that we're going to do a whole 180 on this build and we're going to just like furnish this build in such a colorful way. So I've decided to do that in this particular build and I'm using a ton of assets I wouldn't normally use. These Seasons couches are great. They come in very vibrant colors. I feel like a lot of the earlier builds earlier builds. A lot of the earlier packs we got in The Sims 4, a lot of the swatches are very vibrant and sometimes not usable. But a build like this makes them usable, and I love that. So we've gone with a really bright and sunny kitchen, and then you've got the greens and the yellows in the living room, and then the dining table has the same blues and greens that are in the rug that's in the living room. So it's so cohesive, and I used a lot of fun little knickknacks. We've got the cereal box with the cereal that's all spilled out on the counter, and it's just such a cozy space, and it just looks like a family home. To me, this looks like a family home. I've put in room for pets, and so you can very comfortably have, I don't know, 4, 5 Sims in this build, even 6 potentially, and it would be great. I've used the curtains that come from Growing Together just because they have those pastel colors that I'm using. I did want to keep things more modern. We got this new stack of books that was part of an event. I can't remember which one, but they were perfect for this build. I do use them upstairs, I think you'll see. I put in like a pastel green phone. Again, matches the living room. I'm just putting everything in everything. This rug, I have never used this rug before, especially not in this swatch. But tell me why. It is just like the perfect rug for this hallway. I just love it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you play with items that are very colorful? Do you decorate this way? Do you like this? I don't. It's very much outside of my comfort zone, but I do feel that this is a good opportunity to use assets I wouldn't normally use. In the bathrooms, I have colored them in different colorways. Normally, I keep the bathrooms identical in a build, but I decided to do one that had like this beautiful salmon pink tile, and then upstairs I believe it's a green tile, so they are slightly different, but they're both very family orientated. I use a ton of the bathroom clutter kit in here. Again, we're aiming for like family lived in, busy family life. Like this is a family home, true and true, and that's what I was aiming for. Okay, first bedroom is my favorite bedroom. This is the master bedroom. It is downstairs. It is on the far end. And I think that this was a really good space to put a bedroom because I wasn't having windows on this far wall because of where the carport is. I didn't see a point to have a window to face out to a carport. So I was able to put a bed and it made sense not having a window there. This is very modern. So this is where I'm leaning more into that modern design, and I'm pairing with the blues because again, blue is one of those focal colors that I'm using throughout the build, and I was able to make this gallery wall with these pieces. The bed comes from Eco Lifestyle. The rug was perfect. It's actually from Horse Ranch, but it is so lovely. This modern decor, Art Deco, style dresser is gorgeous. I love this like blind piece. This comes from Eco Lifestyle. Not only does it add to the facade of the front of the build, it just adds something into that bedroom that is so cohesive to the bed, the style, and it's just like it makes sense as well that you would have that type of feature in a room. All right, upstairs, this is that study nook that I was talking about. I use the same chair as what's on the dining table. This is that colorful stack of books. Perfect. And I love this little hutch thing that comes from Laundry Day stuff. Very homely, would fit in a family home. Some portraits. I love that fun ottoman that I used from high school years just to inject more of that color. Just wanted to use color. And this is that space where I was like, what do I do with this space? It's not narrow enough to just be a hallway, but it's also not big enough to be a room. So I decided to make this in like an improv like playroom area, and we've got the infamous tent thing that comes from Dream Home Decorator, which is perfect because it's huge and I don't normally get to use it, but I've used it in this build. Okay, we are in the second bedroom, which is a toddler's room, and this was fun. This was just like a space where I just put in a toddler bed and I just put in some of these fun curtains that have the little, I guess clouds on it. Clouds was the theme for this because we obviously have the rug, we have the curtains, and I put in the dresser. I use this dresser in every kind of nursery that I build. I just like it. It's actually from Cats and Dogs. just seems like it would be in a nursery. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it would. And that's pretty much all that's in this space. It's very simply decorated. I don't usually put much. Again, everything is outside their room for the playroom. There's a ton of toys. I put in Grogu. I've been watching The Mandalorian and it's just really fun to have that in the game. Okay, the final bedroom in this home is a twin girls' room. And I use these beds. These beds are from Growing Together, but they have that base game pattern that matches all of the rugs and whatnot. So I've decided to use those beds and use these beautiful flowers. Again, they're so colorful and fun and girly, and they fit the theme of the room so well. So I've gone in with that. And I like to do this where I put a dresser between two beds. I think that it's a great use of the space because putting in side tables, if you don't often have room for that, this is a way that you can, better use of the space. Love this like circle teardrop type mirror. This comes from Adventure Awaits. It's one of my favorites. It leans a little bit more modern, but it is also rustic. Not that we want rustic, but it's an Anna build, of course. It's in there. Again, I put in a desk. There is 2 Sims in here, but oh well. I made sure I put the marbles jar in here because there are marbles outside. So I wanted to make sure I include that in a child's room. Okay, so lastly, we have this upper balcony. I'm just going to use the same season stuff. I use blue just to because it's the front of their build, you want it to pop. And yeah. All right, so the final part of the build, we are going to be moving into the carport. Now, I decided to make this into a little bit of a space for the parent sim. So I decided, you've got a woodwork table, but you've also got this pottery section. Why not add pottery, put in an easel? This is like such an artsy, creative area. I could have gone down the fabrication woodworking side of things, but I decided to use the pottery skill. I think this is great because this you could also, it could be a single mum who this is her side hustle. It could be like a business. It could be anything you do with this space. It's also just a junk space. I've got the chairs, I've got some books, I've got the Christmas decorations. I almost wanted to put in the Christmas tree. I love this little flower thing. I never use this, but I love it. It just adds to the facade of the build. All right, we are live in game. Now, I use solar panels in this build. Again, something I don't normally use. Okay, so you enter in from the side and you walk into this dining and kitchen space. It's just so inviting and colourful in there. That leads you to the living room, which again uses all the same colour scheme. And even though it's bright and colourful, to me it reads modern. Like it still reads very modern. Decided to put in a gaming console, just something that I feel like you would have in a family home. You head down the hall and you have the downstairs bathroom. Into the master bedroom, which is my favorite room in the house. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love it so much. Beautiful space in there. All the colors are cohesive. You go upstairs, you have your foyer, which has your improv study nook and your playroom. You have the toddler's room. Down the hall, you have the upstairs bathroom. Oh, no. We're putting in a lamp. Yep, putting in a lamp. Okay. Yep. And we're heading down the hall, I think. Yep. This is that green themed bathroom with some hints of blue. You've got a bathroom. You've got a tub for bathing infants and toddlers. And then you've got the girls' room, twin girls' room, which I think I'm just going to be adding in some decorations on this wall. Just seems a little bit flat. I think I go in with, yep, some princess wall decal. Yep, cool. And anything else? Maybe some artwork. Yep, some artwork. Alrighty, and then we are heading to, yep, the front balcony. Again, just a little sitting area. You could change that to whatever you wanted. You could head outside and you have your seating area. You have your grill. Oh, forgot to add some spandrels. I'll add those in. You've got a really lovely outside. It's got a ton of activities for the kids. I'm just adding a plant on this table just so it looks a little bit more, I don't know, furnished. You have your splash pad, you have your swing set, you have your tree house, you have your gardening area. Love that space. I even threw in a bike at the front of the build, and I have totally forgot to go through the carport, but I think we will be going through the carport. But yeah, I just absolutely love this build. Oh, here we go. Woodworking, pottery, you've got your easel, very cozy in there. And that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's build. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.